Dear Diary, we started off March with a narrow 1-0 win at home against Fulham, a result which could have been more flattering if not for a missed penalty before the only goal that we scored. That result keeps us right in the hunt for Europe, but we have a very tough next 4 matches against some of the biggest teams in the Prem. That includes our next 2, away at both Liverpool and Manchester United. That latter one in particular could be huge for that European race. Also, we are due to get this year's youth intake soon, and it sounds like we should expect a few talented youngsters to join the club. Hopefully that's what happens anyway. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 64 of FMOE here with Cardiff City on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we play 2 big games in the latter part of this season in the Premier League, both away from home. First up we travel to Anfield to take on 3rd place Liverpool, and off the back of that what could be a very important game for the race for European football, as it should be hopefully 8 versus 9th as we take on Manchester United from Old Trafford. Also at some stage during today's episode we might get a youth intake as well, so if you're looking forward to today's episode then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as mentioned in the intro off the back of yesterday's episode where we ended up focusing on the FA Cup, if you missed that one I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We've just played the one game in the Premier League and we picked up a 1-0 win over Fulham, which does keep us in 8th place right in that European fight before we do play our next couple of games in the Premier League. It was a game we probably should have won 2-0, Falias with a missed penalty around about the 15-minute mark, but thankfully Urhog Hyde put away a header about 10 minutes off the back of that, and thankfully we did get 3 points from that game, because we might not pick up some points for a little while off the back of that, because our next 3 games in particular, all the way from home, very difficult against Liverpool, Man United, and then again against Manchester City. We might have a sneaky chance of doing something against Chelsea at home, because we did pick up a draw against those guys earlier this season at Stamford Bridge. But if we are still in the hunt for European football after these next 4 games, hopefully we can finish off nice and strong and might sneak our way in there. One thing which could help us out is the fact that the EFL Cup final has already been played, and that was won by Liverpool, who are already in a Champions League spot, so that should mean it does get freed up for the next best team on the Premier League table this season. Hopefully something similar does happen in the FA Cup, so there might be a few more spots available than the table is suggesting at the moment. But first up today we take on Liverpool. We played these guys earlier this season at Cardiff City Stadium and suffered a 3-2 defeat. That was largely thanks to the efforts of Harvey Elliott. Renato Tomic, I think that was his first game for the senior team back then. He did quite well off of the bench at halftime, but we just didn't do enough to pick up a point from that one, and this is only going to be all the tougher away from home at Anfield. And thankfully we go into this one with no injury or suspension concerns, so we'll come back shortly with the team sheets from Anfield as we take on Liverpool in the Premier League. And here are the team sheets for this first game today. There are Liverpool. It is a strong lineup. Still got the likes of Salah and Van Dijk, as well as Fabinho and Alisson in that team. In terms of us, for the first time in quite a while, we are completely at full strength. So hopefully we can put up some cheek here away from home, albeit not expecting anything out of this game. But for these next 4, any points will be very kindly taken, and we'll see if we can do anything useful here at Anfield. And it's only taken 6 minutes of the first highlight in this one. It is a free kick to Liverpool. Ibanez gets his head on the end of that ball from Salah, but thankfully puts that one wide. So still 0-0 early doors. And just shy of the half-hour mark, we are back down Liverpool's end here for a corner, and Salah's going to float this one into the mixer. Ibanez again gets his head on the end of that one, but that also goes wide so far. Very quiet game, as you can tell by the stats. The only thing to note that has happened is that Carlos Dominguez has picked up a yellow card but for now it remains 0-0. And just off the back of adjusting some opposition instructions, it is another highlight here which looks like it might be in favour of Liverpool, a throw in, and they make some room here down this right hand side, float that one into the mixer, but Mexado will claim that, takes his time and rolls that one out to Urhoghide. And now Goodmanson starts to make some headway down this left hand side. Sully starts to get in here on this left wing. We'll put a ball here into the mixer looking for Marco Blun. Doesn't get it. They head that one away now. Ben Hardy with a really loose touch there. Not too sure what's going on there. And now Anguissa starts to make his way in towards the box. It's a little bit iffy in there. And apparently Quezada has fouled him. It looked very, very innocuous. And it looks like this might be a penalty in favour of Liverpool. It's a very, very soft one from the angle that we did see. But to be fair, that was all set up by a loose touch from Ben Hardy, who I thought had a pretty good first touch, albeit not too sure if that was his first touch. And Mo Salah will send Mexado the wrong way. And that feels like a little bit of a harsh way to concede the opening goal in this game. A pretty even game so far, but unfortunately, we apparently give Liverpool the chance there to take the lead from the spot. We'll just check out Ben Hardy's profile here because I'm quite interested in what that attribute for his first touch does look like. It's rated at 15, so it should be a bit better than that. Poor from him there, and that led to the penalty. And thanks to Mo Salah, Liverpool go 1-0 up. And that's half-time in this one. It was a very quiet first half apart from that penalty which Liverpool did put away. But off the back of that penalty, they certainly did get on the front foot so far. We haven't created too much, especially off the back of giving that one away. So we do need to make some changes here at half-time with some players out there on quite poor ratings. So Ola VM can come on for Mark McGuinness, who yet again not playing very well. So still centre-back an area of concern, but just trying to let those new signings get a little bit more used to how we play here at Cardiff City before they do start. Also, Czech will come on for Dominguez on that yellow card and Tomek for Blun on an average rating. And hopefully we can try and pull a goal back here in the second half as we kick it off 1-0 down. And about 10 minutes into the second half, Ben Hardy's on a 6.4 has just picked up a yellow card. So another early substitution, Perry Ing, will come on for him. And it's taken 20 minutes, but we eventually get our first highlight here of the second half. Yet again, it looks like it might be in favour of Liverpool. They have a throw in here inside the final third. Anguissa will find Decore, blast that one over that top right corner. So thankfully, we are still only down by 1-0, albeit now there is a free kick for Liverpool. We'll just get Perry Ing, who's also picked up a yellow card, to ease off tackles. But unfortunately, the highlight will continue. Goodmanson heads that one away, and Czech, hopefully, gets a chance here to get us on the counter-attack. Facundo Farias now will link up with Sully, but unfortunately, bit of a loose touch from him as well. And we do give the ball back to Liverpool, and VVD plays that forward for Fabinho. And Harvey Elliott off of the bench. Here's Perry Ing here, and no doubt he will cause us some issues again. He does them there. Tight angle, and thankfully that one kisses the bar. So we are still down by 1-0 with around about 20 minutes left. And while we are here, we'll also make our last substitution as well as try and go a little bit more positive because Enes Sully down to a red heart. Marine Jacques can come on for him. Still in this game though, only down by 1 goal. And nearly inside the last 10 minutes of this one, yet again it is a dangerous area for a Liverpool attack from a free kick. Harvey Elliott swings this one in. Todibo back there for Hyde. Rockets that one top left corner. Does Brett Hyde? He must be a new gen because no idea who he is. And that is the cushion goal that Liverpool have been looking for in the second half. In the end, we haven't done too much on the attack that we've seen through highlights in this one. Good finish there from Hyde from a well-worked set piece from Liverpool. And that might be all she wrote as we go 2-0 down. And we've entered the last 5 minutes of this game. You can see there Brian Quezada has now picked up a little orange injury. Hopefully that one isn't too serious. But there's one more highlight here as we are about to enter injury time as Liverpool try and play out from the back. And Renato Tomek has just killed a man. He will get a straight red card. We're not going to be able to do anything about that in the last few minutes of this one. That was murder on a football field. He lined that up from a long way out. So at least we did something of note there at Anfield. But unfortunately, not on the score sheet. Not much attacking wise for us there. That penalty in the first half. Bit of a game changer. Up until then, it was quite an even game. and then from a set piece, Liverpool, with 12 minutes left, made it 2-0 before Renato Tomic just had an absolute brain fart there, didn't he? That was quite something to watch through the match engine. And even though we lost, kind of enjoyed that off the back of that last highlight, which is a little bit weird, but we were expecting to lose that game. At least we got some entertainment out of it. But that does mean, though, Renato Tomic is probably going to be hit with a serious suspension there, which is not ideal with Marco Blum quite streaky at the moment, and Zakaria Ziani having not done a lot in the first team recently, with Renato Tomic being one of the better form strikers here at the club. And as you can see, that does mean now that we have slipped below Manchester United into 9th place on the table, albeit joint on points, just that goal differential, which does mean they have jumped above us. A big gap back to the likes of Leicester and Leeds United. But now we are playing catch up to try and enter that 7th position, which might be all there is for European football this season, albeit, as I said, with Liverpool winning the EFL Cup, I think getting rid of that 7th one is a little bit premature, but we suffer a defeat in the first game of today's episode. We'll come back and preview that big one against Man United, as well as hopefully have this year's youth intake. And a day before we take on Manchester United in the second game of today's episode, we indeed have had our youth intake here in the middle of March. As you can see, one player has come through one of our affiliate clubs in Kortrijk, and that is a club from Belgium. Actually, I had no idea we had an affiliate club in Belgium, and very interesting to see that that player is English and one of our elite talents through this youth intake, but one player there with 5-star potential who could definitely be someone who features during the rest of our time here at Cardiff City is Scott Roberts, albeit might need a few years to work on that current ability to be a goalkeeper with lots of potential that could be quite useful for homegrown regulations, especially in those European competitions, provided we eventually make our way into one here at Cardiff City. So he is definitely the pick of this year's youth intake. Also that player who did come from our Belgian affiliate in Sion Defied, English right winger, 16 years old, with that 4.5-star potential, but yet again, not a lot of current ability, but could be a player, if he does fulfill that potential, who we do see in the future. And we've also got some decent players coming through up front in Dean Williams, and at the back in Daniel Price. But we are about to take on Manchester United in quite a big game potentially for our season here at Cardiff City, if we do want to keep in the hunt for a European spot. Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge. We took these guys on at home earlier this season and were a bit unlucky to only get a 0-0 draw. Lots of good chances in that one for us to pick up all 3 points. Unfortunately, we did not get the job done, and no doubt it will only be tougher away from home at Old Trafford. Of course, going into this one though, there is the small matter of a rather expected suspension there to Renato Tomic off the back of what he just did in that Liverpool game. Also, Brian Quezada on international duty. He is now away for some Olympic qualifying, so that is proving to be a bit of a nuisance here in 2028. Dominguez has only recently just come back from doing that with Argentina, and the same is the case for Mike Stovall, but to be fair, a bit more of a ready replacement for him on the bench in Dujon Sterling, but also, as well as Tomic, we have Ben Hardy suspended as well, so it does mean we are going to have to rotate in a few positions for this big game, but hopefully we can still do something here at Old Trafford, and we'll come back shortly with those changes and the team sheets for this big clash as we try and get in prime position for a European spot. And here are the team sheets for this big Premier League clash as we do look to get back into 8th spot on the table. There are Man United also going with a 4-2-3-1. We have had to make quite a few changes due to suspensions and also some tired players, the likes of Vaum and both defensive midfielders, because our Bloshy a bit tired, are in that team. So it could be interesting here as we do look to get some points off Man United in this tough stretch that we are currently in. And yet again, it takes 6 minutes for the first highlight in this one. This time a corner to Man United. They force a good save there, Mexado, from that near post corner. Now Varane inside the box. Thankfully, we do clear that ball away eventually, and we might actually get a chance here on the counter-attack through Marco Blum, who does need to perform today with no Renato Tomic on the bench. But a decent foul there from one of the Man United players, albeit we will get shown this free kick. Dominguez puts us in towards the far post. Marco Blun, it's somehow forced to Enes Sally, who heads that one home. Might be a big mistake there from Rafael Varane, and we grab an early 1-0 lead here at Old Trafford, and that is exactly the start we wanted off the back of that lacklustre performance away at Anfield. Not too sure how Sully's got that header off, gets past Varane and the goalkeeper, and we grab an early 1-0 lead. And we go forward to the 25-minute mark, and it is Man United here who are on the attack, and they pick out Marcus Rashford here down their left-hand side. We'll put this one in for Pinamonti. We head that one away, and again might get a chance to do something here on the counter-attack, but unfortunately, Rinomhota looking for Marco Blun just doesn't put enough on that to get in behind the United defence. We put some pressure on them as they try and play out from the back, but Varane will find Gravenberch, plays it back to Varane, who might have been somewhat at fault for that first goal. Certainly should have won that in the air over Sully, but now Rashford is on the ball. Nice one up there to Pinamonti. Romeo Lavia, the former Southampton man, just inside the byline, plays that one back for Wan-Bissaka. Pinamonti heads it home, and he was onside, so we do concede an equaliser here with around about 20 minutes to go in this first half. A little bit surprising. He was not offside there, so need to keep an eye out on this replay. It was some good build-up play, but he was certainly pushing the offside line. But in the end, McGuinness just let him get slightly in behind him there from that angle where that ball was played in from Wan-Bissaka, and that makes it 1-1 at the half-hour mark. And about 10 minutes off the back of that equaliser, it is now a corner to Man United, so it looks like they are starting to find their feet in this game. They again pick out Pinamonti, but this time, thankfully, that one does go over the bar, so it remains 1-1. And very late in this first half, with only a few seconds left, we do have a late free kick here, which a yellow card Dominguez does put into the mixer. He's starting to pick up a few off the back of his Olympic qualifying campaign. And Perry in here does do some decent work, as well as McGuinness down this right-hand side. Actually, really good work there from McGuinness. We put a ball into the mixer. It's Dominguez with the assist for his wing partner. And Enes Sally, he's grabbed 2 goals, so very good to have him back from an injury. And we might grab the lead going into halftime in this one. You'd certainly hope so. Some nice work there from McGuinness down that right-hand side. Dominguez fizzes one in, and Sully beats the United goalkeeper, who's looking just a little bit average so far in these highlights that we have seen. And indeed, that does mean we go into the sheds with a 2-1 lead. And so far, Manchester United getting absolutely FM'd by us. 2 shots, 2 on target, 2 goals. They've had 13-6 on target for just the 1 goal. So to be fair, we are certainly happy with the scoreline at the moment. Hopefully we can shut them out in the second half. While we are here, we might make one change at halftime. Of the yellow carded players, Facundo Farias is the one on a bit of an average rating, so Ruben Colwill will come on for him, and hopefully we can continue to FM Man United in the second half and hold on to our 2-1 lead. And about 10 minutes into the second half, we start off with a free kick to Man United. Martinez gets his head on the end of that one. Thankfully, that just goes over the bar, and while we are here, we're going to make a change. At left back, Dujon Sterling did start this one because Goodmanson not on a full green heart, just like El Bloshy, but he's not playing that well, so Goodmanson will come on for him with 35 minutes left. And actually, Joe Ralls as well is on a bit of a poor rating, 6.5, so El Bloshy can also make his way onto the field at this time. And Enes Sally is on a hat-trick, but down to a red heart, so we should probably play things safe with him and bring on Marlene Jacquelis in his place. That will be 4 of our subs used here with still 35 minutes left and a 2-1 lead. And about 10 minutes off the back of that flurry of substitutions, there is a free kick here to Man United. Someone has clearly pushed someone in the box there from us, so it does mean that that will be a penalty to Manchester United. The last thing that we want to do with a lead here at Old Trafford. Apparently it was Ruben Colwill off of the bench, and I suspect this might be Marcus Rashford who will take this penalty. Mexado goes the right way, but too much power, and Marcus Rashford, with only his 8th goal of the season in March, does grab an equaliser, and just like that we do lose our lead 2-2 with 25 minutes left. And while we are here, I will try and take off Mark McGuinness here on a 6.1. Bring on it will be Tank for him, but this highlight has started before I can make that change. Hopefully we do continue at the very least to keep this to an even scoreline. Try and play a ball in behind there for Ruben Colwell. He finds Dominguez Jacquelis with a shot. This time their goalkeeper comes up with a very, very good save. Hopefully something happens from the subsequent corner, but that was a big chance for us to get the lead back immediately. Jacquelis floats this one in far post. McGuinness gets his head on the end of that one, but unfortunately straight into the path of the goalkeeper. So with our final substitution, as I said, Tank will come on for McGuinness with that scoreline now 2-2. And only a few minutes off the back of that last substitution, yet again a free kick here for Man United, which Gravenberch is going to take out to left-hand side here where Gore is in a bit of space. It's deflected off of a body of players from us, and Wan-Bissaka in the end with a tap-in, with Mick Sato having gone to save that initial shot. The AI comes up with some quite good set pieces this year, and I don't know how you do that yourself in the game, but that is a really unfortunate one. It comes off Lavia, the goalkeeper's committed, and Wan-Bissaka with a simple tap-in, and Man United grab a 3-2 lead. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight is now a free kick to Man United. They put that far post, Perry Ing does not challenge Rafael Varane, puts that one in the back of the net, and that will probably do it. Unfortunately, we have blown a 2-1 lead here at half-time, and Man United now make it 4-2 this one. Very hard to take, no idea what Perry Ing is doing there, but Pinamonti, yet again, in fact it was Varane, wasn't it? For some reason Pinamonti was the highlighted player, but they put the ball in the back of the net from a tight angle. While we are here, we'll go a bit more attacking, and there is one more highlight, another free kick to United. We've given a lot of those away today, and it has not helped as they have scored a few goals off of them, especially in the second half. But this one, a frustrating result it looked like for a while there. We might be doing enough to grab all 3 points. Big chance there for Gravenberch to make it 5-2, but thankfully he puts that one wide. To be fair, stats-wise, they certainly deserve that win, but for a while it did look like we might burgle 3 points off them here at Old Trafford, and in the end we end up with nothing. Maybe taking off Sully was not the best idea, but to be fair, he was down on a red heart, and yet again we give away a penalty in a big game, and it comes back to bite us as they build up some good momentum off the back of that. So now we have a bit of ground to make up off the back of that loss, and with some tough games still coming up against the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea, but we are going to stay in 9th place on the Premier League table off the back of that 4-2 defeat away from home. As you can see, now 2 points behind Stoke in 8th, and Man United jump up to 7th on 49 points. So 2 frustrating results there in those games in today's episode, especially that second one, as it did look like for a while, despite the fact we were not doing a lot attacking wise, we might end up with some points there from Old Trafford, but in the end we suffer a 4-2 defeat off the back of that 2-0 defeat away at Liverpool. And maybe we should just go back to what we were doing at the start of the season, as those changes that we did make over the last few episodes don't seem to be helping too much in terms of our defensive stability, as I was hoping. But that will do it for today's episode. Unfortunately, 2 losses, albeit in games we probably weren't expected to win, and of course we did also have our youth intake. They played the friendly against our under-18s on that same day as the Man United game, and there are the players, as we suspected, that they are recommending that we do sign. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and have been enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow and inch our way closer to the end of this Premier League season. Ideally, we will end it at the end of this week and get stuck into the transfer window and start of the new season come the start of next week. Now, our schedule, of course, some big games coming up right off the back of those 2 that we did just play. I do think, though, that Man City away, we did just play them yesterday in the FA Cup. That's not a game we are likely to win, especially with some players still being suspended. So we might skip that one, come back for the Chelsea one, because that's a game, if we do play as well as we're capable of, we could get some points out of, and we might also show you guys Brighton at home as well, and highlights of that Leeds United game in between as we start to get some games which are a little bit more winnable, and hopefully we can set up a big showdown on the final day of the Premier League season off the back of taking on Crystal Palace prior as we travel to take on Stoke, and that could be a big game if we are still in the hunt to try and qualify for the Conference League or maybe even the Europa League for next season. So I think that's how the rest of the week here is going to go on FMOE, but we'll come back tomorrow for Chelsea and Brighton. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.